watching this video and you're like, huh, the intro and the outro is similar. That's because it is. I suck at this part situation. I'm not even gonna hold you. So I'm so sorry about it. I hope it doesn't ruin the viewing experience. However, please feel free to comment down below if you ever got caught up in any of these scams or these ruses. But even more importantly, I need you guys to let me know if you guys really want a part 4 or not. Also, keep in mind as you watch these videos, I will be doing dedicated videos to every single topic that I've mentioned in part 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So sit tight.
What up, everybody? I am the Mademoiselle, and this is my channel. And as you guys can tell by the title, we're going to be doing part 2 of No, You're Not Going to Make $10,000 a Month. You guys seem to really like part 1, and I really didn't expect it to go over, but it got to a point where I was like, oh my God, like, and I didn't even put in the clips yet. I was like, oh no, this video gonna be long. So I said part 2 it is. But before we even get into that, please make sure you guys comment down below. Have you ever been caught up in any of these scams? Please make sure you watch part 1 because y'all, I know I have. Okay, that's why I'm able to come on here like, yeah, I got caught up. It was a scam. And if you guys haven't been here before, or you never watched my story times, go watch the story times on this channel as well as my personal channel, because more than likely I've already talked about whatever scams I got caught up with. Like when I'm telling y'all, it's not fun being scammed, but I feel like everybody gets scammed at least once in their lifetime, especially now because like these scams are running rampant. So I'm really trying to make these videos so you guys do not waste your time and your money. Also, be sure to join my channel memberships. I just opened them. Thank you guys so much in advance, and shout outs to those of you guys who have already joined. If that is not your speed, make sure you guys join my Patreon for exclusive content. And I have multiple channels now. Again, everything is going to be linked down below in the description and or pinned comment. So let's get back into these $10,000 whatever scams. Now, the reason I called this $10,000 scams or whatever is because this seems to be the golden number these people like to use. Oh, you're going to make $10,000 a month. Da, 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 da. You're going to make $100,000 a year. You're going to make $1 million. If you do this, it's quick money. It's passive income. Jesus, they love saying passive income. And I will say these next ones are more so going to be the passive income scams because it's really insane that they really think that there's a such thing as passive income. But that's the problem. A lot of us really have bought into the idea of passive income actually existing. Let me just tell you right now, there's no such thing as passive income. Everything that is deemed as passive income has a lot of work that you have to put in the beginning for it to be considered passive income. For example, a YouTube channel. And that goes into, I guess, the next scam. Now, y'all already know, right? I'm a YouTuber. I'm a full-time YouTuber. This is what I do. But did you know that less than 5% of us actually have this as a full-time career? Like, apparently, if you make legit money from YouTube, like if you're making, I forgot the amount, okay? I'm going to put the stuff on the screen so I do not misspeak. But there is a small percentage of us that even make like $1,000 a month. So to make more than $1,000 a month, like you're literally one of the top YouTubers, which is crazy. I didn't really know that until like I really started like making money and popping a couple years ago. Like it's really wild to me. If you become successful with your YouTube channel, you are one of very few. Even though it seems like everyone has a YouTube channel and everyone out there is making money from YouTube, no, a lot of them are not. And still to this day, okay, I will struggle during those months where I'm solely relying on YouTube income. Now, I will say that is genuinely for a lot of reasons that have to do with my mental health. I'm not going to lie. Like I get overwhelmed a lot, but then I have days where I'm able to film a lot. Like this is my 4th video for today or maybe 5th. And I filmed 2 dance videos. I went to go get my car maintenance. I've already done a lot today and it is only 5 o'clock. Okay, so I will say like I'll get real burnt out. I'll get real tired, but I make sure I do a lot of my content when I'm inspired and, you know, I have the time and I feel the energy and I'm up for it. But a lot of times I'm not. Okay. And again, a lot of that has to do with my mental health. Like I stopped taking my meds for my bipolar disorder and stuff like that. So like I'm not on any mental health medication for anything. And I feel like with all the stress that I'm going through, it's kind of inhibiting me from working to my fullest potential. But at the same time, I feel a lot better not being on the meds and I don't want to take the meds again. But I know that a lot of my stress comes from outside shit. Okay. It has nothing to do with like, oh my God, I'm bipolar. This is why I feel like this. A lot of it is warranted for a lot of the shit that I go through. Again, follow the Patreon if you're curious. Follow my personal channel because usually I talk about shit like that on there, right? And it's funny because there's so many people out there that will tell you, oh my God, you're going to make so much money, start a YouTube channel. No, 9 times out of 10, your YouTube channel is probably not going to do that well. I have 3 YouTube channels. I will say I've been able to keep up with 2 of them, but even my personal channel, child. And the thing is, I would do so much better on my personal channel if I posted more on it. But the problem is I don't know how personal I want to be. And that goes into my first point of why a YouTube channel may not be for you. The more vulnerable you are, the more shit you share, the more money you make. But at the same time, it takes a piece of your soul away. And this goes for social media across the board. This is why I would never sit there and share my business unless I was making a certain amount of money, because what happens is a lot of people will sit there and use shit against you. And that's part of the reason I haven't been posting on my personal channel. I had a bitch on another platform try to comment on something that I commented on. It had something to do with parenting. And I was like, yo, I love my parents. They were great, whatever. And the person went and commented and was like, oh, you talk so much shit about your parents. I'm surprised you're commenting that. The thing is, I share my experiences in order to relate with y'all. I share my experiences because at the end of the day, I feel like you guys can learn from it. If it's just me talking shit, I'm not going to post it because it has to teach you something. If it doesn't have a moral high ground or whatever, like, I'm more than likely not going to do it because I never gotten on the internet just to talk shit. There's always a key takeaway. And that shit left a horrible taste in my mouth. And now I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck I want to share. But now most of my personal shit is on Patreon behind a paywall because you got me fucked up if you think I'm going to be vulnerable with you and then you're going to be throwing it back in my face. And that's not the first time shit like that has happened. So I need y'all to understand this whole idea of just starting a YouTube channel to start a YouTube channel is something that is going to bankrupt a lot of y'all. And I'm going to insert this clip that I actually just found recently about this dude talk about how he spent like all this money on his YouTube channel. And now he has to quit, whatever the case may be.
I just received a call from my accountant who provided me with last year's results for my YouTube channel. And in 2024, I lost $57,295. I keep investing into it. And I'm like, all right, I got something here. Maybe this is it. This is my moment. This is like when you need to double dip on it. And at the time you have to think, I had already completely deconstructed my studio. Everything was in storage. Like, it was over in my mind. And I'm like, all right, you got the spark. Okay, I'm starting to connecting left and right. There is a short company that is doing shorts for some of the top creators. I feel something's going. I have a little bit of funds. Let me invest money into doing shorts. We get 1.2 million views on shorts right after, over the course of 3 months. But that, ladies and gentlemen, cost me $15,000. So from a financial perspective, has it been worth it? Yes. Because I see it as educational, as if I invested myself into this venture. Like, the people that I've met, the experience and everything has been crazy. And yes, it's a massive financial loss. Speaking from the perspective of a finance guy, I should have shut that shit down much faster. But man, when you have a hobby, when you have a passion, when you have something that just pulls you in, you just you just want to make it work, man.
It's just insane to me because it's like one of the main things I tell people, okay, when they seek a consultation with me, because I have a social media consultation business called Media Hustle. People come to me to grow their online brands or whatever. I always tell them, like, listen, understand, none of this shit is guaranteed. Okay, it is not guaranteed that you're going to make this channel and you're going to go somewhere. So I always tell people, start with what you got. Start with your iPhone, start with whatever, because if you think that you putting money into this is what you're going to see out of it, you're not. There's so many people out there that have bought the mics, the lights, the cameras, rented spaces, and thought they were going to be the next big thing. You're more than likely not. The people that blow up on YouTube are the people that are the most vulnerable, the most active and consistent, and offer shit. Okay, I'll actually offer something to their audience, whether it's information or entertainment. And a lot of people just can't do it. A lot of people don't have that on screen, on TV, on internet persona. Y'all know what I mean, right? A lot of people don't have the personality for it. A lot of people don't have that vulnerability that it takes. A lot of people don't have that conversationality. What's up with me? I can't speak today. A lot of people can't hold the conversation well. Okay. A lot of people can only speak on TikTok for a minute. A lot of people can only speak like me. I'm better as a YouTuber. I suck at short form content. A lot of people are like that. There's a platform for everyone for the most part, I believe. but YouTube is not for everyone. That whole idea of, oh my God, you're going to make passive income from YouTube, or oh my God, you're going to be rich from YouTube. Yeah, there's not that many people out there that are rich from YouTube. There's not that many successful YouTube channels, even though it grows every year or whatever. It's still a very, very small percentage. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to sell parts of your soul in order to get wherever it is that you need to go. And that's just the fact of the matter.
If you guys follow me online, you would know that I did start doing a mentorship program. It's something that you pay for monthly. It's called Hustle Society. So if it's something that you really care about and you really want to take seriously in regards to YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, make sure you guys peep the description box and you guys can join. Like, when I'm telling y'all, it's so sad. Like, when I see people sit here and they spend so much money, so much time on shit that they know is not going to get them anywhere, it pisses me off. So that's why I started Media Hustle, and that's why I started Hustle Society, because it's like, that's the most affordable way that I can think to actually help people and give people the knowledge that I have without charging them like $5,000 or whatever. And also, like, I want to build a community around it. So if it's something that you're interested in, right here on the screen.
A lot of influencers and YouTubers do not make as much money as you think. And in terms of it being passive, you have to be posting content for a good amount of years. I would say anywhere from 3 to 10 years before it's something where you don't have to post at all, or you don't have to make content, and it just becomes money in your bank account every month.
I wouldn't recommend you start a credit repair business. I would recommend you start a financial literacy business that gives credit repair for free, because there's a law called CROA, Credit Repair Organization Act. It's illegal to charge for credit repair. You have to do the work first, get the stuff deleted, then you charge, which makes no damn sense.
So it's like they can't pay you for a service up front.
No, it's illegal.
So somebody, you can do it and then somebody can run off type.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I teach my students is give credit repair for free, but if you are going to assist someone, you're getting the financial literacy and the education that you provide. And then you offer credit repair as a free product just because they signed up with your company.
Woo! Those credit repair scams are rampant. I genuinely don't understand how people think that someone can go into your credit report and fix it without you actually putting in the work. So the thing is, right, I actually almost fell for this. I have a girl that I went to high school with that does this credit repair shit. And it's funny, she's constantly always posting about her credit repair and how she does this for people and how people out here are making so much money and getting all of these things because she took these things off their credit report and now they're able to get loans, all this stuff. When I inquire about it, she doesn't answer. And I asked somebody else from high school to DM her and ask her, like, hey, could you do the service? She didn't answer them either, which makes me think this girl is selling a grift. And then I started looking into credit repair scams. Y'all, just don't do it. These people can steal your information. They can steal your money, because 9 times out of 10, the credit repair is not going to work. And most of the time, the only thing you need to do to fix your credit is to get rid of those inquiries, as well as settle those balances with those creditors. Okay, whether you're going to dispute it away, which you can do yourself, or you're going to literally settle by paying the balance. That's it, and that's all. That's it, and that's all. Like, it's insane that people are really charging hundreds of dollars for this. It's a scam.
Just say not everybody with a credit repair company is a scammer. Okay, I think that's safe to say about everything that I've mentioned. Like, I think a lot of y'all got common sense, but there's always going to be those people. Well, I did it and I do it, and that's my cousin's business and she's successful. Some people are actually really good at this job. They don't scam people. They don't take your money, run off with it, etc. The point is, a lot of times you can just handle this yourself, either by A, paying the debt, B, settling on the debt, which means like not paying the whole amount of whatever debt it is. I've done that a few times, to be honest. Or C, learning how to do it by yourself, learning how to contact these credit bureaus and these companies, and asking them to remove the debt, validify. You know, y'all already know the deal, right? Not everybody's a scammer, but there are a lot of people in this sector that will literally just take your money and not do shit. Be careful.
This one sentence gets debt collectors to back off immediately. Hey, I'm the credit hacker. I come to you guys incognito so that I can keep my job but still give you the tips, tricks, and knowledge to help you hack your credit. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain. You just say this: I do not consent to verbal communication. Validate this debt in writing, including the original agreement, or cease all collection efforts. Then hang up. And when you tell them to validate the debt in writing, also throw in there, tell them to give you the full payment history and the chain of custody. Want to know why this works? Well, under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, you have the right to demand validation, and they have to stop until they provide it. And most of them can't.
And for those of you guys that think, oh, well, I could scam people doing that too, the devil is waiting for you, and hell is hot, very hot. Airbnb automation. This one, I can't wait to make a video about this because I've been watching these fucking Airbnb YouTube scammers for a long time. You guys might know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm sure I'm gonna insert the clips in this video.
How much do these Airbnbs make gross, like in total, your total portfolio? How much are they making every month gross? You know, because those are the numbers you'll see on social media. Like, we make 60 grand a month. So how much is gross, and then how much is net?
Okay, so our best month, which was May of 2022, that's when we had just got our 11th unit. We made a little over $58,000 that month. That was revenue, that was not profit. Profit was about 60% of that. Now, each Airbnb really does depend on the size of it and how much it makes. So I would say our smaller properties bring in about $1,000 to $2,000 profit per month, and then our mid-size bring in like $3,000 to $5,000 profit per month, and then our bigger properties, which the biggest we've had are like 3-bed, 3 baths or 4-bed, 2 baths. Those were bringing in like around $6,000 profit per month, I'd say.
You mentioned earlier that you have one that you own and then others that you lease. And I think this is what gets a little confused by a lot of the audience, a lot of the people that are leaving negative comments on social media, is the idea that you're actually renting the property and then this is the arbitrage model. And so I know when you run ads and when you speak about this, sometimes people only catch like 30 seconds of it. And it's like, you don't need background in real estate, you don't need your license, you don't need any money. And so what's the actual truth about people starting with this business model? Do you really need no money?
You don't need any of your own money. You're going to need money of some sort. So we teach business funding. Like, you go to Chase Bank, you get a 0% interest credit card. And technically when you start, it's not your money, but it is money.
And so you think, well, I need 20, 25%. You do the math on the average price in Vegas right now, you're talking $100,000. And then you see you two on social media saying you don't need 100,000, you need just a few thousand. It's like, I think there's a little confusion there. So I think it's the business model that kind of throws people off. You had a very popular video go viral, your first YouTube video that got almost 1 million views about making $3 million. And I think this is another instance of the confusion where you guys have been pretty transparent about how much you make on Airbnb. I mean, one podcast you say you're making $300,000 a year on Airbnb, and then another you said you made millions. So hold on, wait, why is there discrepancy? You mentioned you made $3 million, and so why do you think there's confusion? And then if you don't mind breaking down like where that number came from.
Yeah, so I think every time I talk about the income that I make, I try to keep it separate from what I make as an Airbnb host and then what I make as an entrepreneur, because they are separate. So from Airbnb, we are 6-figure Airbnb hosts. I would say at this point, we've brought in total since we began probably over $450,000 from Airbnb. Last year, we finished off the year a little over $380,000 for the year. And then since starting Airbnb and seeing success, we started a coaching program, which I did talk about in the video. And so that's where the difference comes in between the millions and then the 6 figures. So as coaches and short-term rental coaches, we've brought in millions from that source of income.
Separates like a coaching business from being a scam and something that's legitimate.
It's subjective, right? So when you start a coaching business, there's obviously fulfillment on. So when your customer buys, if they don't get access to it right away and you don't have a customer support team to email, you're kind of a scammer.
Yeah, you accepted money and you never delivered a product.
Exactly. But in that journey, so much can happen. Automations don't always work. People put in the wrong emails. So it's like, it's more so subjective what people think. But I think if you make a product and it isn't what you bought, like, that actually is a scam. You know what I mean? Like, it lacks on value. And you're not doing what you're teaching, like you actually never did it and you kind of just like start talking about it, I would consider it to be a scam. But if you take a course and you don't apply it and you don't go through the materials and do that, it's not a scam. You just didn't complete it and you didn't even give enough time to work for you. So
yeah, I think the difference between things that are a scam and aren't a scam are like, if someone pays for something and they don't get what they paid for, or they're getting something that's not what they expected, in terms of just like they're not being delivered what was told that it would be delivered, I think that's a scam. You can never just take someone's money and not deliver. Yeah. I think the difference is a lot of people now think that any coaching program is a scam because it's a service that people are paying for. And I think people forget that digital products are still a service just like anything else. People buy clothes. It's not a scam when you're giving someone money to get a shirt because they're telling you, if you give me $20, I will give you this t-shirt. And so I think even when it comes to coaching or digital products, people have to understand, if you're paying $500 for a course and they tell you, if you give me $500, this is what you're going to learn, just because you don't apply it, or like Bryson said, sometimes we have people who sign up with the wrong email. Like, that doesn't mean that it's a scam.
Very interesting about these two is this was a huge story maybe 2-year-ish ago. And now that I'm looking into this to put the clips in there, it's like shit has been buried. And if you guys are not aware, my master's is in public relations, and part of public relations is reputation management. There are ways for you to suppress certain things in your search, remove videos and stuff like that from coming up. And I don't want to say that's what they did, but it's like, it's wild. It's like really difficult for me to find what I used to watch on these people all the time. Sage, you want to say hi? Because you all up in my space. But yeah, like it's hard for me to find anything. And the reason I'm going to say they more than likely did this is because there was an influencer that did a whole expose video about them. It was excellent. And I believe they striked her video. She was literally in danger of losing her channel. It was a whole thing. So it's like, if you're not a scammer, why do all of that to prove that you're not a scammer? If you're not a scammer, you're not a scammer. And it's like all these interviews with these clickbait titles, and then they're trying to explain themselves. It's like, if you're not a scammer, you're not going to go through all of that. Just saying. But yeah, if you can find information on it, it's a pretty wild story. The whole idea is that they, A, don't own any of these Airbnbs, but they're acting like they do. B, they're making more money from courses instead of like actually being Airbnb hosts. 3, they don't make as much money as they say they do, which, I mean, I feel like that's true only because every interview I see, it's different income claims. And I know she does say that, like, you know, she tries to separate what she makes from being an entrepreneur versus having an Airbnb, etc. But it's like, that's, child, the whole thing is a joke. It's like one day is 6 figures, next day is $1 million, next day is 5 million. Like, how much do you make? Just be wary of people that make income claims. Okay, most people that make income claims are not making that income. Nobody that's actually making money is going around saying, oh, I make $1 million a month. And even if that were the case, don't you think these people would be on fucking Forbes? Don't you think like real publications would be covering these people in a post, Sage, as opposed to like them saying it and then people interviewing them because they got caught up in some mess? Critical thinking.
It's insane how much these people are getting away with. But what's really insane is that people are really out here getting on Airbnb with properties they do not own, okay, to make passive income. This is the thing, right? This shit has gotten so out of hand to the point where now there are cities that are not allowing Airbnb, okay? There are places out there where your shit gonna get struck down immediately even if you try it, because it's so saturated and so unregulated. Everybody think they could do this. Everybody think they about to be an Airbnb mogul. When you're not. First of all, it costs a good heap of money to start an Airbnb business, because either you're going to rent or use your own apartment, which more than likely your landlord is going to ask for extra fees if you plan to do that, or you're going to rent an apartment with the guise of you being in that apartment, and then you're going to put it on Airbnb as if you're not doing something totally illegal. You can't do that, okay? 9 times out of 10, your lease says that you can't do that, but a lot of people do it anyway. Some landlords are okay with it, but a lot of landlords are not okay with it because they don't know who's going to be in their space, okay? Like literally you're practically running a hotel in these people's property, and that is not okay. And a lot of times, a lot of Airbnb people are very destructive or do a lot of unsavory things. So fun fact, I had spoke at a school for a career day, right? And I happened to be seating next to a girl that said that she was part of an Airbnb, like, I forgot what it was. The job, it had something to do with mental health in Airbnb. And that's why I inquired about it. Like, so basically she works for like the crisis hotline or something of Airbnb. It's such an interesting like job because I've never heard of it before. And you guys probably like, why would Airbnb need that? People will literally rent Airbnbs to off themselves. You heard that right. It's a real common thing. A lot of people will rent an Airbnb to do really unsavory things, from offing people to offing themselves. And it got that bad that they needed a crisis coordinator or whatever the case may be. Did you not? It was probably one of the most interesting things I ever heard of in my life. And it really made me think like, damn, is it really getting that bad? Oh yeah. The whole Airbnb situation is really getting that bad.
Okay, if you have not seen or heard about this story, I wanted to share it because I think it's something that we should all be aware of, particularly while we are traveling. This story is hitting close to home, particularly because I'm currently traveling through Mexico City, and so my heart goes out to each of their loved ones. These 3 individuals died from carbon monoxide poisoning, and so it's a very unfortunate reminder that not all U.S. states and countries require detectors.
The parents of Honora Lavenier now suing Airbnb, the property owner as well, the rentals manager, and a previous renter that hosted a party at the unit 2 weeks prior to Honora's death. Investigators have not been able to identify so far where those drugs came from or how they got into the rental property, but a previous renter reportedly told investigators they did throw a party at the location that involved cocaine. What exactly did they witness, and why do they think it was fentanyl?
Well, what they witnessed was every parent's absolute worst nightmare. You put your children down for a nap, thinking that they are safe and secure in their bed, all snuggled in, and you go to wake them a couple hours later and you're met with a lifeless body.
Airbnb is being sued for $1.3 million after a woman's husband fell sick and died after using a contaminated hot tub.
I have never once in all of my time of using this app complained about a brand or a company because it would take them doing something completely immoral for me to even bring it up. But the experience that I just had with Airbnb is beyond me insane. So grab your popcorn, do your makeup, whatever you want to do, listen to this story, because if you're a woman that uses Airbnb to travel alone, or you're a man, doesn't even matter. It's unsafe for everybody. But speaking from experience, you might want to reconsider using Airbnb. Like, I will never use Airbnb again after this. Let me paint the scene. So I had to go to New York for a funeral. Already not a fun time, but I get to my Airbnb and there's the cleaning lady. She's still there. Even though this goes against their policies of having someone in the unit upon entry, I didn't care about this. I was just like, finish your job, whatever, la la la. And I jump into the bed in the Airbnb and I start looking at TikToks, and then 10 minutes later, she's gone. 10 minutes pass and I hear the rustling of a doorknob. I hear someone trying to get into a unit. Mind you, this is a big house and it's a duplex, so there are a few units in this place. I don't even know how many, so I just immediately assumed that someone was trying to get into one of the other units based on how old the house was and how hollow it was. I just didn't think anything of it. And then I hear beep, 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 and I'm like, that sounds a lot like someone typing in a code to unlock a door. So I go out into the hallway of the Airbnb, and what do I find? It is a 6'5" beefy dude. Scary looking, okay? Any man would be scary looking in this situation, but he was like all on his own scary looking. So I'm trying not to freak out, but I'm like, hey, what's up? What are you doing here? And he says, I'm looking for my ID. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not the host. I think you should call the host about this. You have to leave. And I'm still being nice, but he's now in the apartment with the door shut behind him, not leaving. And he's telling me, well, can you just go look? Can you just go look for my ID? I walk backwards into the living room because I don't want to turn my back to this dude. And I'm looking in the apartment for his ID. And I'm like, nope, I'm sorry, it's not here. You have to call the host. And again, you got to leave. He pauses. He looks at me up and down. And then he's like, are you sure that it's not here? Now, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to get at, dude, but like, you need to leave. I was like, at that point, I was freaking out, and I was basically just like backing him into the door and opening it up on my own to get him out. And by the grace of God, after 10 minutes of telling this man, this stranger, to leave the Airbnb, he finally leaves. I immediately call the host. She is not only unapologetic, but she then tells me that, oh, she doesn't change the code to the back door because there's a chain lock. Does it look like there's a chain lock on this door? I don't know, I could only tell because there was a stranger in my fucking Airbnb. So basically what she was saying, what she was admitting, was that anybody that has ever stayed at this Airbnb has had access to this Airbnb at any time on any given day. So I immediately leave. I already feel unsafe. I'm like, this is 10 minutes into being here. Like, I have no idea what could happen at night. I'm freaking out. It's not a nice part of upstate New York that I'm staying in. So I leave and I immediately contact Airbnb support. Why they call it support, I have
no clue at all. If their job is to make you frustrated, gaslight you, and make you exhausted, and to the point where like you just completely give up on getting a refund or getting a hotel, they're really, really, really good at that. And I guess they're really good at that even in scenarios where they have violations of their own policies that go against your rights for having safety and privacy in an Airbnb. So 6 hours later, after arguing with Airbnb support, they finally agree to put me up in a hotel. It's now 9 o'clock at night, mind you. It is 20 degrees in upstate New York, and I just consider myself very blessed that I had family that could pick me up and take me to their place while I waited to get a hotel. So at 9, they approve me to get a hotel, and then they tell me that they're not giving me a refund for the 20 minutes that I spent in this Airbnb. 30 minutes, I don't even know, but most of that time that I spent in that Airbnb, I was just frightened. Mind you, I am carrying all of my work equipment. I'm carrying my expensive camera gear, I'm carrying all of my hard drives, and I'm carrying my memory cards. And I'm not going to mention the worst thing that could happen because I don't want to think about that. Let's just say I was very lucky in this scenario. So here we are 2 weeks later. I've been arguing with Airbnb support this entire time. 2 weeks later, they said upon further investigation, they can't give me a full refund. They also never followed up about this particular Airbnb and how they were going to change the code for every new tenant. So I'm assuming that any person that books out that particular Airbnb will now be in danger and they won't know anything about it. Airbnb, I hope that you hear this. Your customers deserve better. Start taking responsibility for your failures because safety is not negotiable.
This whole idea of making so much money with other people's apartments and houses, when I'm telling y'all, you're walking to a dangerous game because God forbid now you get sued or you get evicted because you're sitting here playing games with somebody else's property. It's not going to end well. Face fake business funding. I don't even really need to go down the rabbit hole of the fake PPP loans. I already forgot that I had to do the unemployment shit right now. Yeah, I need to make a video about the unemployment fraud as well. But
I got my Corvette in my personal name. It was $110,000. I had $110,000 debt on my personal side at this point. I got an LLC. I wanted to transfer it out of my personal name to my business name. Basically, what the concept is my business is paying for the car from my personal self. And then it's getting paid off. So now I got a $110,000 auto loan paid off my personal side. And that looks amazing that you done paid back $100,000 to a company. And then now I'm building my business credit because now I got a $100,000 auto loan in my business name that I'm paying on time every month.
You can get funded with bad credit. Talk to me about that. So it's multiple strategies. So one of the strategies is called subprime lenders. Okay. Subprime lenders are non-traditional institutions. So it's not Wells Fargo, not Chase, not Bank of America. These are private institutions where they lend out to people that have challenged credit. For example, you have net credit. That's one. You got op loans, fig loans. These are all
don't just speed past that. Break it out. Say those again.
Net credit.
Okay.
Fig loans. Op loans. Okay. These are subprime lenders, right? So if you don't have the best credit, you can go this route. They're not gonna expect you to have a 750 credit score. They do make sure that you have capital to pay them back. So they want to see pay stubs or some collateral to show that you have some cash flow. That's important, right? But you can still go to a subprime lender, right, and go get capital. Or you can leverage what we call the operating agreement play, right? So if I have a bad credit score, but Marv, you got a great credit score, right? I could put you on my LLC on the operating agreement as 90% owner. So now you're 90% owner on my business. We're going to go and apply for the same sequence that I just shared and go get 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. But because you are a partner, the benefit for you is I'm going to give you equity in this business that we go buy.
For those that own an LLC, have you ever heard of the 508 power play? Let me put you on game. Most people out there are fighting for scraps while the elite are playing a completely different game. Here's one of the coldest strategies that they will never, ever teach you in school. You don't need to be the owner of your business. You want to own nothing and control everything. You want to let your 508c1a own it, okay? Here's how it works. First, you set up a 508c1a faith-based private trust or ministry as a non-reporting, tax-exempt, constitutionally protected entity. Then you form an LLC, but you don't own it. Your 508 does. Now that LLC is created and it's owned by the 508, it becomes what's considered a disregarded entity under the trust. Which means what? No corporate tax return, no K1s, no 1120s, no Schedule C. Just a clean, private, non-reporting revenue flowing through a lawful entity that is structured outside of the jurisdiction of the IRS. 100% ethically and legally. Now tell me, who's really free? You're not hiding money. You're operating lawfully, intelligently, and in alignment with how the system was actually designed to work for those that understand it. You get tax-exempt growth, bulletproof asset protection, unmatched privacy, and the power to operate like a sovereign, not a servant. They don't want you to know this.
Are you crazy? If this is, you actually have to have a legitimate business. They sitting here telling y'all to get LLCs, do business funding, do this, that, and the third, fraudulently, might I add, because you should not be out here applying as a non-profit, non-reporting business if you do not qualify under those categories to do so in your state. Like, it's just... Y'all, a lot of this advice is going to get your ass in trouble. Is it legit and can it work? Yeah, but it's all fun and games until they crack down on your ass the way they cracking down with these PPPs and the unemployment. Like, you should not be fraudulently trying to obtain these loans, trying to act like you have a business when you don't, trying to be a different type of business entity that you do not fall under.
There are people out there that are really teaching people how to get business funding and business credit, okay, through fake LLCs. I don't know why you wouldn't just start a legitimate business and do that, but a lot of people are out here literally making LLCs for a limited amount of money and then going to apply for businesses with it. Now, you guys are probably like, well, why not just do that under your own name? Well, what a lot of people don't know is when you have a business, there's a lot of things that come a little bit easier because you can strictly get loans, funding, and different opportunities with strictly your EIN. You could buy a car with an EIN. You could rent an apartment with an EIN, even your phone bill. You can get a cheaper phone bill with the EIN. If you register as a business and then you get certain services or whatever under your business, like you'll get a lot of shit for cheaper. Like I do it all the time. I'm an influencer. I work from home. Therefore, why the fuck would I pay consumer prices when I have I got 2 businesses. So for me, I'm legit. But a lot of people are out here making fake businesses in order to reap these benefits. And let me just say, it's not ending well for a lot of people. Print on demand, or shall I say merch.
How I lost $2,000 overnight with print on demand. Buckle up, because this is a story for you. It's also a warning out there to all my print on demand sellers that this is something that's real and it can happen to you. I have an Etsy store which is linked to Printful, and I was selling a pair of shoes. I uploaded my design, I put them on the shoes in Printful, I linked them to my Etsy store. Etsy markets them, I market them, and people started buying them. Well, what happens next is something nobody ever saw. When they linked, it listed it in men's sizes. The sizing chart said if you are a size 8 in men's, please size down to a 6.5 in women's, and so forth. So all of my customers, all of my patrons did that correctly. So unbeknownst to me, when they were shipping said shoes, they were shipping in the exact size ordered. So if you ordered a 6.5 in men's, you got a 6.5 in women's. If you ordered an 8 in men's, you got an 8 in women's. These would be too small for the people that were ordering the shoes. 40 of these orders went out before I even realized that this is what was happening. I then reach out to Printful, who tells me it was a syncing problem between Etsy and Printful. And because it synced incorrectly, it's not their fault. So I have to decide whether or not to refund 40 shoes and reship 40 shoes at $42 a piece. I think it's like 50 shoes actually, like $42 a piece of my money, or go down in flames. I could have bought a nice pair of shoes of myself for $2,000. Could have bought a lot of things for $2,000, but instead I'm sending people free shoes.
So here's what went wrong this week in my self-publishing world. It's honestly not funny, but I'm gonna laugh about it anyway, because what else can I do? So I get an email from Amazon, and I low-key thought it was fake, but it's real. They told me that they can no longer print girls like me due to a manufacturing error. I've been using Amazon KDP for 2 years. They've literally printed over 15,000 copies of this book and then decided enough is enough. I can't even order my author copies of the book for upcoming vendor events if I needed to. But on the bright side, the same week this happened, I confirmed my order for 2,000 books to be on their way from China so I can take matters into my own hands to keep things afloat.
Okay, so this is what they don't tell you about print on demand and drop shipping as a business. And I know because I learned the hard way. I went through the whole process and it was not what I was hoping for. So I know like with the holidays and everything coming up, of course we want to make some extra income in drop shipping, print on demand, doing like holiday themes and stuff like that. Sounds like a great idea. But I'm just going to give you guys a quick rundown, the real scoop on what to expect if you go that route. First of all, it's not passive because you're going to spend hours designing the product and placing it onto the mock-up in Printify or Printful, whatever company that you decide to use. Either that or you're going to have to pay somebody to make a design. And if you want to have multiple different product options, paying somebody for each design is probably not going to be an ideal option. And if you're doing it yourself, you're going to have to spend hours making up different designs. I mean, that's the kind of the trade-off. And then I think another thing that most people don't know is that like if let's say somebody actually does buy the product. So people assume that, okay, I don't really have to do much or I don't have to spend any money up front because the person is paying for it and then it gets drop shipped to them from the manufacturer. But the real scoop is that even though the person is paying you, that doesn't mean that the money is available to you right away. As soon as that person places the order on your website or wherever they're ordering it from you, you have to have a credit card or some type of card on file with the manufacturer, Printify, Printful, whatever, and they're going to charge that card for the base amount of the products, plus I think the shipping as well. So you're going to have to pay, you still have to pay up front. You still got to have the money up front. And if you get 5 or 10 orders at a time, you're going to have all that money up front on your card available. And a lot of people will assume that it's better to do print on demand drop shipping because they don't want to make the upfront investment into inventory, which I get because I was thinking like that at first too. But the thing is, your unit cost is going to be so sky high that your products are going to be overpriced. And I cannot stress that enough. Whereas you can do a small bulk order directly from a manufacturer. I don't use Alibaba. I use Pietra Studio. That's my go-to. You can do smaller bulk orders depending on the manufacturer. You can even just order as little as like 5 or 10 units. And it's still going to cost you a lot less than it will to order that print on demand item. And your product is going to be more unique. And you're going to be in control of what they see when they get the product because you're going to be the one to, put it in your packaging or however you want to send it to them. So I just like to give people the scoop on this kind of thing because I see so many of these like print on demand and, people saying, oh man, all you got to do is put the design on there and people are going to be ordering it like crazy and you're going to ship it to the customer. You don't have to have no inventory and it sounds great.
I've made a good amount of money from merch in the past couple of years, but not really. I'll say obviously because I don't promote it as much. Like I should be wearing my merch right now, but I don't got time. And mind you, I have a whole closet full of merch. But sometimes I already got this shit on. I've been wearing it all day. So I ain't gonna hold you. I do better if marketing was in play. If I really sat there and marketed it. And that's the same thing with anyone, all right? Because I have the audience to sell the merch. I just don't market it well enough, right? And also a lot of my merch I feel like is not that great. And a lot of times the key to selling really good print on demand products is the design, is exactly what it says on it, is the psychology behind it. Because if not, you're not going to sell shit. And I ain't going to hold you. Like right now, I ain't making shit from merch because I haven't been promoting it and the merch just ain't that great. Like it just is what it is. But for whatever reason, there's these gurus that are telling you, oh, sell merchandise, print on demand services are the way to go. You're going to waste so much time. Okay. I will say when it comes to print on demand, it's probably, okay, print on demand as well as digital products are probably the only two things that I've mentioned between this video and the other video where you probably only need $0 to start, but you do need talent, okay? You need talent to make something that people actually care to wear, buy, share, whatever the case may be. And there's an art to that, okay? A lot of people do hire illustrators or designers or whatever to make their merchandise. But now with AI and shit, it's a lot easier. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm about to use some AI real soon. Cause the fuck, like, I need to resell my merch again. I need to get my life together. But I will say my Haitian channel merch is probably way better than my main channel merch. But then, like, I'll change it and then, like, I won't promote it, and then it's like, oh my god, like, I could be making so much money, but I'm not because I'm lazy. But see, that's the thing, I know I'm lazy. Can't nobody sit there and tell me, oh, there's this hack or this trick to make you sell more merch. I know how to get more merch sales. It's just a matter of finding the time to sit down and dedicate the time for it. And I feel like that's how a lot of people get caught up in these scams. They get told, oh, do this quickly, get this fast, and they're forgetting, like, they just want your money so you could buy the course or you can buy this mentorship or whatever, and they're not going to tell you anything that you don't already know. Like, y'all really be pissing me off because it's like these automated businesses are not going to make any money because the best businesses out there make money because they have a human attachment. They have a story that people resonate with and want to support. They have that whole idea of, this is me, this is my story, this is my business, service, or product, and you should buy it. I want to help you, etc. 9 times out of 10, when you just use AI and you don't know what you're doing and just using it to use money, you're not going to make shit. Okay, a lot of these faceless channels, okay, the only ones that are making money are the ones that actually sit there and talk and take the time to overlay the right things and use the right editing. Like, you have to put a lot of work into a faceless channel. Way more work than a channel that actually shows your face, okay? A lot of people don't understand that a good business deals with personal connection. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short. They don't want to share themselves. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to whatever. And they're like, oh, I'm going to believe this next scheme because it's the least limited amount of work. No, you're going to have to share pieces of yourself. Like I said, you're going to have to sell pieces of your soul, whether we're talking about a dry cleaning business or a YouTube channel. Like, you have to sell bits and pieces of your soul. It's not always just about the product or the service. There's key differences and key stories and personal backgrounds that make all the brands that we know about today successful. The only reason we don't hear about them is because now they've been in business for 50 years, 100 years, whatever, and nobody really gives a fuck. But like, even like, most of the best brands that you know about had a real story that made them who they are today. You're not going to make money without that. I always tell people, for those of you guys who have been on any of my webinars, you already know passion, personal purpose. Okay, you have to have the passion, you have to have a personal story, you have to have a purpose. If not, it's not going to work out. Stop letting these people lie to you and scam you and tell you that you're going to make so much money doing n'importe quoi, because 9 times out of 10, they're lying. You're not going to make any money at all. And if you do, more than likely, at best, you might just break even. You're not going to make $10,000 a month. With that being said, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Please join my memberships if you haven't already. Join my Patreon. And most importantly, peep the description box for everything you guys always ask me about down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this, because I know this and the other video is pretty damn long. With that being said, I'm going to see y'all next time.